need to be taken care of. So here's what the body will do. The cell components, for example, the plasma membrane, those phospholipids, they will get broken down by macrophages. That means they eat, okay? Well, our hemoglobin, what the macrophages want to do, they want to separate the heme from the globin. The globin, that's my amino acid chain that makes the protein. One of the things the body doesn't do is store amino acids. So it will actually release those amino acids back to the bloodstream. They'll go to cells that need them, and they'll be reused. They recycle them, those amino acids. The iron will go back to the blood, combine with the transferrin, go wherever it might be needed. And if I need to store it, it'll go to the liver, because that's what iron does. Okay, is everybody with me? The heme group, the little piece in the middle of those 4 protein chains. The heme group, that one, little more difficult, okay? We got to do something with that. So, here's what happened. We'll see that heme group get converted in the spleen. It gets converted to something called biliverdin. These are just the terms for it, because bile-like, bile of the body, is everybody familiar with bile, like bile in the gallbladder and stuff like that? Okay, so that will get converted to bilirubin. Have you heard of that one? Yes, because you've probably heard of jaundice. Have you ever heard of jaundice? Which you usually associate it with the babies. This is why this process is going wrong. And it stays behind, and it gives them the yellow color. And one of the things that helps it get back to where it needs to be and broken down is the light. That's why they'll take the little babies and put them under light. I call it cooking them. Okay? They'll cook the baby for a little while, and then the baby's fine. Because the light, I don't know the whole process, so I'm not even going to act like I know. Okay? I just know that it acts like sunlight, which is supposed to do something to help it get back to the point the body can get rid of it. That's all I know. That's all I'm going to say at this point in time. So, once it's bilirubin, it goes to the blood. It'll bind to albumin. Do you guys remember that one? The little globulins in the blood for transport. Okay? And the liver will take that bilirubin, secrete it into bile that makes its way to the gallbladder, that makes bile pigments, that gets secreted into the small intestines so that it can help with, digesting food and so forth. Once it gets into the intestines, because the intestines have bacteria, the interaction with the bacteria will take the bilirubin portion, convert it to something called urobilinogen, and it's pooped out. It makes its way to the large intestines, and it's excreted out of the body. And because it does have pigments to it, it's what gives the feces their color, which is kind of interesting. So the heme group, we also see that it contributes to the yellow of urine. The heme group is the most difficult portion to deal with. It's not recycled, it's not reused, it's not stored. We have to make sure it gets broken down and removed from the body. So when things go wrong in this process, jaundice is the result. And with jaundice, we tend to think of it with babies. However, people who have liver problems, we're going to see that people have liver problems. One of the things as the disease progresses and it can't do the job it needs to do, people are very jaundiced because of the buildup of stuff like this in their blood, which is really a waste that we should get rid of. And it's not happening. So this is telling us that. This is telling us, okay, we get the hemoglobins made, we get our red blood cells. Red blood cells have to die. The majority of them are going to be broken down in that spleen into all of these little parts, okay? And hopefully, they will be processed and either reused, recycled, or removed from the body. There are disorders that affect the red blood cells. We have polycythemia, poly meaning many, and this would be people who have high red blood cell counts and so forth. There is anemia, where there's not enough iron. Sickle cell disease. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with the red blood cells. Like it says, the text will definitely go into greater detail about some of them. When we think about blood, one of the things we tend to think about, blood type, okay? Like we said, I think some of you in here know your blood type. And do you know if it has like the A positive, A negative, that sort of stuff attached to it? Or do you just know the letter?
No.
Okay, so, oh, do they call you a whole bunch?
I get phone calls twice a day
From the, yeah, from blood services?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll continuously call you. So you change your number. So, blood type. We really need to know this, especially in the case of a huge blood loss and a person needing blood. Because the groups, now, the blood groups are labeled A, B, and O. Okay, so we have A, B, O. Because these are the ones that are the most numerous in the human population. They are not the only blood types out there. There are over 30 different types of blood. Yeah, they're just very rare. Okay, the ones that are most numerous are the ABOs. Well, when we look at that red blood cell, like I was saying, on the membrane of it, we get that glycolipid, okay? We get that extension, and that will help determine what your blood type is. If it is the AB, or O. So, our blood type, the way they're going to say it, the way they're going to put it forth, it's based on antigens and antibodies. Now, will you guys work with me again? Let's go till 10:30, take a break, and then come back and do lab. Okay, so when we look at, say for example, a person that has the A blood type, on their red blood cell, okay, as we look at antigens and antibodies, their antigen is what we see on the surface. And that's what you'll see in the red blood cell itself. Now, if this person is A, and the antibody that they're going to carry in their plasma is a B. So the antibody will look like that in their plasma. a person, so if this is my A blood type, if a person is a B blood type, their antigen is going to look like this. So in their cell, they're going to have that. In their blood, in the plasma, they're going to have this, the antibody. If a person is AB on the cell, they've got both. And then their antibodies are both. The person who's O doesn't have either. The reason we need to know this information. Now take a peek at the structure of this antibody for the person who's A blood type. Does it look like it can attach to any of these other red blood cells? Which ones? AB and does it look like it can attach to O? B and AB. So now, if that was the case, and if I have the person who is type A blood, based on that information that I now know, one of the things that it does, it helps my body to know that whatever is moving in the bloodstream for the red blood cell, that it's mine. Don't attack it. Okay? Antibodies, stay where you are and don't attack my self cells. That's called autoimmune. Okay? However, let's say something happened. I was in a car wreck. I had some blood loss. They didn't type my blood right, and they gave me that. What is that antibody going to attach to on the B? It's going to attach to that antigen. So if I got a whole bunch of these running around in the plasma of my blood, and they give me B blood, those antibodies go, oh, well, that's not right. This is a foreign cell. I got to attack it. So my antibodies begin attacking all of these B blood cells and clump them. Because they have so many antibodies, so many antigens, they just begin to attach, and they clump. They agglutinate. Clumping. Oh man, no, that's not good. And that says is plasma, that should be if plasma, typo, okay? So if my plasma antibodies recognize that I was given the wrong red blood cell, it attacks them, clumps them, and that leads to some major issues. Specifically, death. So, if I'm in that car wreck, they go to type my blood. Let's hope the person doing that job knows what they're doing. Because there's a little test. It's real simple. It's not anything hard to see what it is. And then hopefully the facility I'm at is going to have the right blood. Just saying. So in our blood types, we do find heredity plays a part. Because you're going to inherit this information from mom and dad. You're going to end up being dominant, recessive, you guys remember all that? Heterozygous, okay, for the blood types.